because today we have a limited time. So I want to request him to start his presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashokji. I hope my presentation is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, right. Thank you. So I'll just begin. We are on World Water Day, 22nd March every year. It's celebrated, and as you know, that water is becoming a very serious business. The availability of water is shrinking. You in Varanasi are in a somewhat privileged position with the Ganga, flowing next to you. But let us just try and see what more we can learn today. Actually, water is a vast subject, and I have selected some slides which will be of interest to you. And I hope somewhat later in the year I have time to come over there personally and have a much longer interaction. But here goes what we have for today. So as you know that in Indian culture, we have this concept of Panch Tat, that is the 5 essential elements, and water is one of them. Okay, so water is part of all our rituals. Water is of course necessary for survival, for agriculture, and for just about everything. Here is a passage from the Tirukural. This is an ancient Tamil text, and it says it is the unfailing fall of rain that sustains the world. Therefore, look upon rain as the nectar of life. Now, what is happening is that with the change in climate, the rainfall, which we have always taken as predictable, is becoming erratic. So that is a cause of concern, and it can even be more than what usually used to happen, or it can be much less. There is no guarantee. Okay. You would all, or at least quite a few of you, would be knowing about the hydrological cycle. How does the rain come on land? Now, this is an image which has been taken from geography text. And basically, it is the water of the sea which evaporates. You know, in India, it is the water which evaporates over the Arabian Sea and then over the Bay of Bengal. And then it is drawn onto the land by the rising temperature of the soil, which creates low pressure zones. And when it comes onto the land mass, it precipitates. And when it precipitates, again from the higher altitudes, the water is basically returning back to the sea through the rivers. But in between, it does a lot of work. It nourishes the vegetation, it fills up your groundwater aquifers, and your lakes and so on. Okay, now and then the cycle is repeated annually. Okay, but this is the way Western scientists have put it for us. But did we not know? Now let us look at the Rig Veda, and you find that the Rig Veda has said this thing thousands of years ago. Okay, so in these various shlokas of the Rig Veda, the same cycle, see, it says the cloud is formed due to the water evaporated from the mother earth, and then it wants to come back to its mother in the form of rain. It says the water is never stationary, but it continually gets evaporated and comes down, and due to smallness we can't see the upgoing water particles. Okay, so all these shlokas, and there are many, I would not be putting all of them on the screen. And then here we have from the Earth Shastra, that is Chanakya's Earth Shastra. And here it is described that water was so important that it was considered a noble task for rulers or anybody to build tanks and ponds and so on. And for that, they were given rewards, okay, recognition and rewards. Over India, we know that we have the monsoon for only 3 months in the year. And so it is, necessary for us to capture that monsoon rainwater so as to enable the resource to be available to us for the rest of the year, okay, when it does not rain. So you may have heard of water harvesting, which is basically, about capturing the rainwater. And so all over India, you have so many methods developed over centuries to capture the rainwater. So for example, in Ladakh, you have Zing. In Himachal, you have Kuls. then Nola in Uttarakhand, Johars, Baulis, Pat, Vav, so many different Madaka, Uranui, Iri, so many methods of capturing rainwater all over the country. So precious was this resource. But here I take you way back to 2700 BC, and this is the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. Now, how was it filled? It was filled by capturing river water and directing it through a channel into this. Okay, and this is been described as the first swimming pool in the world. And along this, you can see what may have been, as you may see in a modern swimming pool, like you may have in your Banaras club, uh, you know, changing rooms, okay, along the sides. So, you know, uh, this is near Prayagraj, Allahabad, okay. This is Shringavirapura, and this is a first century BC site for capturing and cleaning river water from the Ganga. It's a really very fascinating site, and even then to capture the river water, the flood water, that was so important. But then you have these beautiful step wells in different parts of the country in Rajasthan and Gujarat, or you have these simple methods. This is known as a kundi, circle of about 50 feet, which is sloping towards the center in Rajasthan. And so whatever little rainwater falls over here, that goes through these little holes into a cylindrical, in a well, which is within this. And you are able to lift this and draw that water out. Why is it closed? So that the water is not lost to the hot summer sun in the desert through evaporation. So every place has developed its own ways of capturing water. This is at Chittorgarh Fort. So lovely, reservoirs. So how would a invader capture this fort, which has got its own water supply? Okay, so every year with the rain, the water is renewed. The Grand Anicut on the Kaveri, 2000-year-old structure still working. It's a wonder. Okay, so this was made by the Cholas in Tamil Nadu, and it's an engineering feat, that you could do this at that time. This is very interesting, at Burhanpur in Madhya Pradesh. It is what is known as an infiltration gallery. The rain falls on the hillside, it sinks into the soil of the mountain, and it then it flows downwards, and through a tunnel that water is captured. And you'll be surprised to know that even as on date, this 17th century structure is still providing water to the town. Now here's a very interesting thing. For a moment we'll just go to Europe. This is what is known as an air well. Now the air well would not work in Indian conditions, but it can work in European conditions or some other places. How does it work? The humid air from the sea blows in through these openings, and this is a very thick masonry. So at night time, because they are at a northerly latitude, the temperature really goes down, and the water in the humid air, that condenses, and by gravity it is available at this level. So you get pure air, pure water through this method, which is known as the air well. Now, why can't we do it? We cannot do it easily, because while we do have on our coastline humid air blowing in, but we do not have those cold temperatures to condense it. Okay, but you might have noticed that when you are having cold water in a metal glass nowadays in summer, and as you move towards the monsoon and the air becomes humid, you'll find a lot of water condenses on the outside of your steel glass or your glass bottle. It's the same principle. And then we have these traditional methods of weather forecasting. Okay, so while of course you have the meteorological department telling you that it's going to rain day after, or this time the monsoons are going to be on time, they are going to be normal, or so on. But how did the tribes or people staying in desert areas, they how did they predict it? Even in your area, you would know that those who do have an idea of these things, they'll tell you from the direction in which the smoke at Holi, when you burn, Holika, just the day before, Holi. So the direction in which the smoke blows, that will tell you about the nature of the monsoon of that year. So there are people who can predict these things. So, these are some learnings from Rajasthan, where this particular cloud formation, and they can distinguish 80 different types of clouds, mind you. Okay. So this particular cloud formation is bound to bring you rain in a few hours. Okay. Or the level at which a particular bird lays its eggs away from a water body. That will tell you how much water will fall that year. Okay. So, and all these learnings are captured in small rhymes, which are easy to translate and to impart to other people, because they are so easy to memorize. So this is traditional wisdom regarding water, which is still around. And then, of course, water inspires poets. So this is a poem by Dinkar about Nadi, or by Maithili Sharan Gupta on Ganga. And this is a painting by the British painter William Hodges in 1790. It's on the storm on the Ganges. So, and he has, painted this. At that time, of course, you did not have cameras. So watercolors were used to capture the imagery. And this is the scene on the Ganga near Bhagalpur in Bihar, where you have these temples on the rocks which are in the river. So you can say rock islands in the river. And you can see how much water was there in the river, that such large boats, look at this one with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sails as moving along. Okay. Now here's another interesting facet. This is a site in Mundra, that is Kutch, Gujarat. And as you can see, it's a very arid site. So we at Intac were given the responsibility of greening the site, but there was very little water available. So we had to maximize the use of the available water, and this is what we did. So wherever we planted, next to that we put in a clay pot. आप जानते हैं सुराई होती है, घड़ा होता है. So here you can see it, and we poured water into this, not around the plant. And what happens is that, as you know, the cooling process through clay is that the moisture gradually comes out of the pot, and that is then available to the root zone of the plant. Okay, it is not, if I put water here, it will be mostly lost to evaporation. So that really helped us to use very little water, but to grow the plants well. And here you can see that we had some very striking results in an area where water was in very short supply. And then, of course, we just dug out small ponds over there in order to capture rainwater, and that also attracted these birds. So here you have pelicans, the comb duck, the spoonbill duck. Okay. Another interesting project which we did was the Chinkara project in Rajasthan, where the chinkaras, which is a small deer, that was being bitten to death by village stray dogs. And so we created watering holes outside the villages so that the chinkaras don't have to go to the villages and get bitten. Okay. So now we have done 13 such rainwater harvesting structures, and that in those areas, black bucks, demoiselle cranes, chinkaras, they all are able to get their, quench their thirst outside of the villages. Okay, these are the demoiselle cranes. So some 4,000 of them at this site in Jodhpur, just because of a pond which we had dug out to capture rainwater. And then, of course, we have done this, another interesting facet is that in India, irrigation, that is, the water which we used in agriculture, that is, 80% of our water is used in irrigation. Now, can we cut down that water use? Yes, we can, because if we reduce our water usage in irrigation, then we will be able to save that water in the ground, okay, and our rivers will have more water and so on. So here we had carried out a lot of work in which we improved the soil through different methods of planting, and then we are able to absorb the rainwater in the soil. So this is our pilot field, and this is the conventional field. So the conventional field is not absorbing water, you can see that, whereas all the water in our field has sunk into the soil and will be available to the plants later, right? So by that we are saving 50% of water use in this field. Now if that is replicated on a much larger scale all over India, then we will be able to save lots, humongous amounts of water. Let's look at Banaras. Okay, you know that Banaras is so named as Varanasi because it falls between the Varuna river and the Assi Nadi, okay, which is somewhere here. So this is the old map. I think it's 18th century map of Varanasi, and you can see at that time Varanasi was very small. This is a more recent map, and you can see the city has really grown. Okay, and this is the BHU area, and the Assi Nadi is over here. It comes out as at Assi Ghat. Okay, whereas the Varuna river comes out after all the ghats are over. Okay, now this chart is telling you the amount of water which is available through rainfall. So you have a fairly good rainfall endowment in Varanasi, 989 millimeters per year. Okay, when you compare to say Delhi, Delhi has only got 600 millimeters. Okay, when you go to Jaisalmer, it is only 300 millimeters. So you can see that you are getting a lot of rainfall water, right? But at the same time, you can see that the temperature is also warming up. So that leads to a lot more of evaporation losses. Okay. Now we have been doing a study along the Ganga River, and this is a map which is showing you many water bodies which are there, the larger water bodies which are there. This is the Ramnagar side, which are available in Varanasi. This is BHU just to help you get your bearings. And we have also, marked several green areas where urban forests can be developed. Okay, we have given this to the administration. Let us see what they do about it, because the core areas of Banaras hardly have any green area except, some bit of the cantonment. Okay, but cantonment is a small part of the city. We have worked along with Ashok Kapoor ji at the rejuvenation of many of the old konds of Varanasi. These konds have fallen into bad shape. Now this is Kalha Kond in Varanasi, which we have rejuvenated. We have rejuvenated about 8 konds, and soon we will be doing a few more. Okay, now but let me show you. So one of the new ones is likely to be Narokar Talab. This is near Sarnath. Now this is a 2001 image of that talab, and you can see it stretching like this, and all the way up. Okay, and all the area around it is, mostly it's agriculture fields. Okay, but now when I look at the current image, so I can see that this branch of the water body has been lost, and the area around it has been urbanized, and so the wastewater of the houses is coming into the water body, and it is polluting that water body. Still, these are, birds which are coming in the migratory season. Now, this is not a very clear photograph, but this is the lesser whistling duck. This is on that Narokar Talab. Okay. Or we are going to take up this one, which is at Shivpur. This is Chanch Talab, and it's a fairly large water body. but which has been gradually, captured by encroachments from all sides. This is the problem in Varanasi and elsewhere in India too, but in Varanasi particularly, where natural areas are being encroached upon uh, the uh, by others. Okay, same for Moti Jheel. You see there's Moti Jheel in 2000 and Moti Jheel now. It's dry and it's full of garbage. Okay, but here I'm showing you the Bhopal Lake, and this was made in the 13th century, and it is still feeding the town of the very city of Bhopal, which is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. It's being fed, its thirst is being quenched by a 13th century structure. Okay, made by a small dam over here, which captures the rainwater runoff from all these hills over here and creates this huge lake. Now this is the some of the fish which we have photographed, which have been captured in the Ganga near Varanasi. Methods of fishing, which are not the usual hook and line sinker. These are bamboo cane baskets, and you dip them in water and you lift them, and some fish is bound to be captured. And there is some dolphin near the where the Gomti meets the Ganga. These are various kinds of turtles. This is the tent turtle, Indian tent turtle. So at Sarnath, so you have this aquatic wildlife too. Boat making in Varanasi. Generally sal wood is being used for making these boats, and these people are constructing boats. So this is another, employment and livelihood over there along with the river. The fast flowing river also erodes the banks of the river, and here you can see the river banks have been cut vertically. So if the river keeps on cutting over here, then these buildings will collapse. Okay, so how to stabilize the banks, that is also a very important thing. And then we have these, this is old map of Varanasi, 2005, and here it is showing you this black line is uh, a river, a old small river. But as we come to the 2019 map, we find that this river it has vanished, a small stream. So this is another difficulty which is arising at when too much of urbanization and buildings happen. Okay, now this is a small rivulet, the Subhanala at Varanasi, and you can see how so much of water is eroding and going into the river. This is where the Gomti is meeting the Ganga, and this is the Assi Nadi. It's totally contaminated, and it is falling into the river. And then this river is flowing towards the ghats, and people are having their ritual baths in it. We also have a lot of very lovely pokers on the outskirts of Varanasi. So this is one Kacha Baba poker, and you can see the water is lovely. We have this near Ghazipur side. We have this half square kilometer Oxbow Lake. The Oxbow Lake is formed by the flow of the river, and have proposed to the administration that this should become a nice ecotourism lake, as you can see on in the photograph too. Can you do this in your school? These little nozzles costing around 11-12 rupees. If they are inserted into the taps, they halve the water flow, and so the water wastage is reduced greatly. So in your schools you can talk about to your principal, to your teachers, that we need to save water, and why don't you get these little devices and put them into the tap so that water can be saved. Or this is another way of having dry toilets where very little water is used and all the excreta becomes compost matter, so that then actually becomes a resource. Now we are coming to the close. Now this is photographs through microscopes of snowflakes. Okay, and the snowflakes have lovely hexagonal patterns. Uh, which are different in every single snowflake. And if you play good music, okay, then you get lovely patterns. But if you play, things like, this is a heavy metal song, then the entire thing is very disturbed. Okay. Uh, Similarly, if you use good words, you get very good patterns. But if you use bad words, you can get very bad patterns. Now, the point of showing you these two images was that the human body is, having 70% of water content. And if you are thinking ill thoughts or using bad words, so you can imagine the effect which it will have upon your system. So a very good reason to think nobly, act nobly. And this is from the Umiam Lake in Meghalaya. And you can see how, clean the water is that you are sitting. It looks as if the boat is floating in air. And this is the shadow of the boat. So clean is the water. That is how things ought to be. Uh, don't dig a well when you are thirsty. You have to plan for your water resources well in time. And that's the end. Okay. So I hope you have learned something from this. Uh, there's much more about water. I could make 3 or 4 more such presentations, but I think everything has, some time limit. So I hope it was useful. I hope it was interesting and makes you think about water and the environment around you in Varanasi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Really enlightened. And we learned a lot about the water and how to keep it, not how to, but yes, we should keep it pure. And it is really important for us. Sir, yes,
Aditi,
yes,
I
sir.
have permission to leave.
Sir, 1 second, just can you switch on your camera so that we can have a selfie, please? So we can have one group photo. Everyone, please switch on your cameras.
वानस
Just a second.
को बाबूलाल को गेट के सामने ले आए.
Sorry, मनु सर, आप कुछ कह रहे हैं? Everyone, please switch on your cameras. Manu sir, can you please switch on your camera?
वानस
Let me try.
Okay, Aditi ji, may I leave?
But still, we cannot see you.
Well, I think you will have to do without me then.
Just can you try now, please, sir? Last time. We can't still see it. Cannot see it. It's okay, sir. If you have any other commitment, please feel free to leave. Others, please stay back. We have an important announcement for you. So, as we mentioned, the United Nations has this World Water Day has been started by United Nations, and they have asked the participants request you to prepare a short video of 60 seconds wherein you can tell the impact of water in our lives and also how we can protect that the groundwater basically. So, video should only be on the groundwater preservation and how it impacts our life. 60-second video, not more than that. We'll upload that video on Intact YouTube channel and we'll also tag it to United Nations YouTube channel, the best ones only. And we would need this video latest by day after tomorrow, that is today's Tuesday, Thursday evening 5 p.m. So we are going to show you a small video which we prepared on World Ganga Day. You can take it as an example and World Ganga Day, yes. And you can World River Day, sorry. And then you can prepare a similar video, or you can use your creativity and prepare maybe a better one as well. So just hold on for a second. Let me show you the video which Intact prepared on World River Day.
कहाँ भेजना है? पहले हम लोग को डायरेक्ट भेजना है।
हाँ, it has to be sent on WhatsApp only. It is a 1-minute video. Can you see my screen, everybody? If yes, then please type in. Screen Can you see my
No, ma'am, you can't see your screen.
I'm trying to share my screen. screen now?
Now visible. Yes, visible. It's not visible.
वीडियो हैंग कर गया, वीडियो ही हैंग कर गया ना, वीडियो नहीं चल रहा।
नहीं चल रहा।
Due to some technical reasons, we are not able to play this video. We will put it on our YouTube channel, the Intact YouTube channel, and share this link with you. Intact Varanasi channel, and then we'll share the link with you, and you can access this video and accordingly prepare the video. Send it to us maybe by Thursday. We'll send the link to WhatsApp and send it. You prepare your own video and send it to us by Thursday 5 p.m. Okay, and it should be a 60-second video, not more than that. Otherwise, it won't get uploaded. Okay. Okay. Anybody? Good. So, any questions? Anyone? Although Manu sir is not here, but if you have any question, you can put in your chat box. We can send it to him. And I think there is some technical issue with the teams as well, so we may have to wrap up the meeting right now. वो तो हम लोग भेजेंगे लिंक विल सेंड ना, तो उसमें आ जाएगा. Okay, hope you enjoyed the session. Okay. Have a nice time. Okay, have a nice day ahead. Thank you. Bye bye. Huh? Group पे. Group पे. क्या चीज? क्या? अच्छा.